I'd like to welcome our first speaker, Dr. Andrii Buvailo, Director of Deep Pharma Intelligence, to share some insights from the company's inaugural project and report. Dr. Buvailo, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Franco. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining our webinar today. I'm glad to be introducing some projects, latest insights that we have uncovered about AI in drug discovery industry and our major plans for 2021. That's the team at Deep Pharma Intelligence have. And the Deep Pharma Intelligence is the joint venture of two leading UK-based think tanks, Deep Knowledge Analytics and Biopharma Trend, of which I'm a co-founder. Just a couple of words about Biopharma Trends, where we started. In 2016, we started as a blog about emerging biotech companies and technologies, and we had particular focus on the artificial intelligence in drug discovery. That was our first topic, and then we expanded into other emerging areas of the biotech. And over the years, we have grown into a leading platform for reflecting on the trends and companies in this area and predicting some market moves. In 2019, we won a prestigious private grant in the UK, the Catalyst grant, and with that we established the Analytics Limited company and started building a software as a service market intelligence tool, which was supposed to become a leading tool for market analysis, investment analytics, and so forth in the biotech space. Actually, in 2020, we launched the beta prototype. And in 2020, at the end of the year, we formed a joint venture with Deep Knowledge Analytics, where we joined together and brought together the expertise in software development, data science, and also extensive pharmaceutical expertise in the domain sectors like AI in drug discovery and other emerging areas. Currently, the Deep Pharma Intelligence is focused on the deep domain expertise in the pharmaceutical industry, including technical analysis in the areas such as artificial intelligence, new therapeutic modalities, stem cells, longevity therapeutics, and digital health, and more. And also, as a company, we are very strong in the business side of things, including biotech investment advisory, technical and business due diligence, competitive analysis, and strategic consultancy for the pharmaceutical decision makers, as well as financial institutions. Currently, we are producing regularly the open access reports covering the industry, and we are specifically focusing on the emerging trends and very hot markets that are going to disrupt the industry in the foreseeable future. And also we are offering the proprietary reports and proprietary analytics, which provides a very deep insight into different areas, new ventures, new opportunities, and so forth. You can access reports following those links below. Having joined with Deep Knowledge Analytics, we are under the company Deep Pharma Intelligence. We're now building the industry's leading software as a service platform, which will incorporate big data analytics about the pharma industry as a whole, and specifically focusing on the startup scene, on the private equity markets, but also on the public companies and large corporations. This will be a one-stop shop tool for the decision-making, growth strategy building, as well as investment analysis for all the stakeholders who can possibly be interested in this field. This is the website of Deep Pharma Intelligence, and I welcome you to visit it and explore the wide range of services and opportunities that we currently have. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Dr. Buvailo. I'd now like to pass the floor over to Alex Kresnev, Director of Deep Knowledge Analytics, to share a little bit of insight into Deep Knowledge Analytics involvement in this inaugural project from Deep Pharma Intelligence, as well as a little bit of background on its activities in the AI and drug discovery space over the past several years. Alex, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Franco. Do you see my screen?
We do.
Thank you so much. So I'm speaking on behalf of Deep Knowledge Analytics, co-founder of Deep Pharma Intelligence. We've been producing deep tech analysis for several years, including AI for drug discovery analysis. Let me briefly present the most significant projects we had during these 3 years. So as you can see here, I collected several projects, several examples for you. So just to show that we've been producing projects like blockchain focused, AI focused fintech, and longevity. One of the first and the brightest achievements of Deep Knowledge Analytics was in 2018 when we presented AI and UK landscape report at the event made by All Party Parliamentary Group on Artificial Intelligence in the UK. So where actually are we now in these 2 years? We are rapidly moving from 2D visualizations to 3D visualizations. I hope this will significantly increase our possibilities and visualization abilities. So another example was COVID-19 analytics, where we analyzed 250 countries and regions using 140 parameters. So this report was covered by multiple media and acknowledged by various international organizations as well as notable persons. Speaking about our experience in researching of AI in pharmaceutical industry, so our journey began in 2017 when our first report was produced. It included only 11 companies and was based only on a few parameters. Frankly, based on this timeline, you can easily check how the industry was growing. So in 2018 was produced 4 reports. In 19, 3 reports. All of these reports were landscape overviews, presenting investment analytics and the general overview of various achievements in the industry. There were several reports about pharmaceutical industry as a whole. As example, you can see here like reports about leaders, women, conferences, and so on and so forth. Here is our achievements from 2017 to 2020. So this is our first circle mind map, which include only 11 companies. Now it has more than 200 companies, actually 240. So with these results, we decided to create jointly with Biopharma Trend a new company called Deep Pharma Intelligence. And in 2020, we also produced a report jointly, which will be presented again in a few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alexei.
Yeah.
Now I would like to pass the floor back over to Dr. Andrii Buvailo, Director of Deep Pharma Intelligence, who will deliver some key takeaways and insights with a focus on investment trends and broad industry trends from the inaugural report and associated IT platform released recently by Deep Pharma Intelligence. Andrii, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Franco. As I said, Deep Pharma Intelligence inherited inherited resources and expertise from its founding partners, Deep Knowledge Analytics and Biopharma Trend. And so this report was produced by the joint team of the two teams. And I'd like to briefly provide some highlights about the report and basically our key findings over the year 2020. So essentially, the problem is in the pharmaceutical industry is that it's not sufficiently optimized to translate innovation into the actual workable drugs. So it takes on average 10 years and more than $2.5 billion to bring a drug to market, and a lot of failures occur, and it's a known thing that many drug candidates simply fail at later stages, creating huge costs for the pharmaceutical industry. And of course, the patients don't get their medications as fast as it could be possible. Artificial intelligence is one way to address this issue, because this is a very global technology that interconnects many aspects of the pharmaceutical research and development process. So it is now being used basically at every stage of the process, starting from the ideation, data generation and data processing, hypothesis generation, all the way to screening projects, clinical trials, and even some pharmacovigilance projects to track the actual performance of the drugs in the markets. So artificial intelligence is a strategic thing at this point. And the community of the AI in pharma is kind of segmented still. It's still growing rapidly, but we will see much more to come. Currently, it is primarily represented by several hundred AI-focused biotech startups and scale-ups. And also big pharma companies are also developing in-house programs and actively partnering with external AI vendors or experts. It is interesting to know that contract research organizations, large ones, are also actively competing for this technology, and there is a growing wave of collaborations between largest contract research organizations and different vendors, technology providers, or innovators. And also an interesting and important trend is that big tech companies, which are traditionally non-medical companies like Google, Tencent, or Amazon, they are now entering the healthcare space as well, because they already have very sophisticated AI tech, and they kind of competing with the classical drug makers. But at this point, they are also making a lot of partnerships with them. It's interesting to focus on the AI startups, because they are kind of cradle of innovation in that sense. And already today, we can see that some of the players have more advanced AI capabilities, including end-to-end platforms from basic research to basically bringing the candidates all the way to clinical trials. And they also have advanced pipelines, including clinical drug candidates, while others are basically developing some services or tools based on the AI, but also competing to grow and become stronger. I would say that over the last several years, there has been an inflection point that we would call an AlphaGo moment in the pharmaceutical industry, where in 2018 and 2019, several companies basically applied AI at such scale and with such results that they managed to actually, I would say, transform the paradigm. And put face in the technology in the eyes of really big partners and clients. I will review some of these examples, but generally speaking, the basic for the AI revolution has been built in 1990s of the last century, with all the fundamental technologies basically appearing on theoretical level. Then in 2012, we can point out to like image nets competition and the rise of practical deep learning application, not only in pharma, but primarily in other industries, but then pharma followed. In 2015, some sophisticated neural nets emerged, like, for example, generative adversarial networks and other neural nets. And basically all that led to rapid growth in the number of startups applying such technologies, and as well as other players hunting for collaborations and basic move in this area. We also anticipate that the next years will be highlighted by the maturation of the technology and even commoditization, and basically a lot of strategic collaborations, like investments or merger and acquisition deals, where big players will be trying to kind of get the state-of-the-art technology at their hands. So the examples, of course, everybody probably knows about Google DeepMind, who basically learned and solved the 50-year grand challenge in biology, which is predicting proteins 3D shape from its amino acid sequence. It's a landmark work. And I would also point to Silicon Medicine's applicability of their adversarial generative networks to creation of kinase inhibitors to DDR1 targets within just 21 days, and then validating it in vitro and in vivo. Also, Deep Genomics claim that they developed the oligonucleotide candidate for Wilson disease in just under 18 months. And maybe Helix, who also applied AI to bring a candidate to phase 2A trial just within 18 months. These are just examples, and there are much more of those. But what I would say that those are kind of landmark works validating the drug discovery potential of this technology. From the commercial point of view, the performance of the AI adoption can be seen in the increasing amount of partnerships specifically involving AI technologies. These are the partnerships with Big Pharma, where Big Pharma is partnering with AI startups to kind of probe the grounds and make different pilot projects or even more sophisticated programs. And the most important part of this is that some of those collaborations, which started several years ago, already providing exciting commercial results. And here I just briefly summarize just 3 of them, which is the partnership of Atomwise with Hansoh, where they initially partner but now expand partnership because of prominent results. And also Recursion Pharmaceuticals, for example, expanded partnership and realized their options with Takeda following their success with internal drug candidate development programs. And for example, Exscientia, which reached its first major milestone with GSK last year using their AI platform. So we have clear leaders speaking in terms of formal numbers of AI collaborations, but of course we have to closely look at each collaboration to understand the specifics and the impact that AI is having. Speaking about Big Pharma, we have clear leaders in the pack who are leading this race. Basically, I can name Bayer, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, Takeda, GSK, Novartis, Janssen, and others, who are basically having a lot of collaborations, major collaborations. And as I mentioned previously, contract research industry is really catching up here, and large companies like IQVIA, Parexel, they are partnering to apply AI primarily for clinical trial design or patient certification or real data, world evidence analysis, pharmacovigilance, and basically for operational tasks like hiring patients for clinical trials more efficiently and so on. And there are other examples where PPD, for example, collaborated on that same aspect, whereas Charles River Laboratories and WuXi AppTec explored AI for more drug design approaches, where it actually partnered with the startups to leverage their innovation. So concluding this brief report, I would say that the AI has now become a strategic priority, whereas it was, let's say, in 2015 or 2016, it was pretty much criticized by many. But now pretty much every player in the industry is probing something or already investing in this technology. And there is a number of drivers which make sure that the industry is heating up. It's first of all a wave of proof of concept studies. There are hundreds and probably thousands of those in research facilities. And also there are commercial successes. Some of them I just mentioned. And the very important thing is AI democratization in general, which means that AI technology is becoming accessible to actually non-data scientists, or in the form of different usable drag and drop pipeline builders or frameworks that can be quickly leveraged for your data science projects and so on. So AI is becoming more accessible, more suitable. And also, of course, the general understanding of AI mechanics among the pharma industry, the learning curve that everyone is now following, this is a major factor for AI adoption. So we regularly cover this area in our open access reports, and I believe this is very beneficial for the community. These are free reports, and so everybody can read and gain insights. But for more in-depth decision-making analytics in the financial landscape, let's say investment landscape, or in the growth strategy building aspects, we offer proprietary analytics where our team can help develop those strategies. So this summarizes the highlights from this report.